welcome to the last week of the Open 25.3. First thing first, don't forget to read all the standards on the website.
Yeah, so standards are a big one. There are lots because there are lots of movements. We're going to cover a couple that we think people often get wrong or miss. That doesn't mean you can just go and do what you want on the others though. So the first one we're actually looking at is we're going to do the tape lines. Check your tape lines and whether you're going to the inside or the outside of the tape, because this is different. The tape closest to the wall, the line measurement is the outside of that tape, but the tape far away, the measurement is to the inside of that tape. So make sure you pay attention to those. So I know you've got a big thing on the technique standard for the feet and the hands on the wall walks.
Yeah, I see it all the time with the feet and the hands, and it's just that people move their hands before both feet are on the wall. And a no rep in a walk is very costly energy-wise. So make sure that both feet are up on that wall before you move your hands.
Perfect. And then the other one on the floor setup is just to make sure that everything needs to be, so your rower and your barbell or your multiple barbells need to be 1.5 meters or 5 foot away from your furthest tape line, okay? So don't make a silly mistake of being too close to that tape. Cool. Talking of your rowers, we're gonna go straight on to our strategy. You do not win this workout in that first row. You don't win it, but you can 100% lose it. Okay, so we actually want you to start off a little bit slower than you want to, and it almost feels uncomfortably slow, okay? The reason being is we've got our chart here, okay? The difference between rowing at 1,100 calories per hour and 1,200 calories per hour in terms of effort is a lot. You have to pull significantly harder. But you only get your 50 calories done about 14 seconds quicker, okay? Now, that's great that I'm 14 seconds quicker, but that only affords me 3 extra seconds per wall walk in the next set before I've lost that benefit. So if pulling that extra 100 calories per hour takes me up to like an RPE 7 or 8, okay, I'm then not going to be able to get off, go straight into my wall walks, which means I'm going to lose time on my wall walks, which means all of that effort I put in here was pointless. In my opinion, the thing to do is if you think you're going to finish in around 15 minutes, you need to row at a speed which you can easily sustain for 15 minutes.
Right, yeah.
If you don't think you're going to finish in 20, you need to row at a pace that you think you could sustain for 20 minutes, okay? This is just the first part of the workout, but it's a massive, massive trap that lots of people are going to fall into, okay?
Yeah, on that, I think if you know your 2K row time, you want to be a little bit slower than that, than your 2K row time, especially for the first row. And the second row, which we'll come on to, if you've strategized this well, should be faster.
Yeah, very much. Deadlifts next.
Alright, come down to the deadlift. There are a lot of hinging movement coming on in this workout. Even row, clean, and snatch itself. So be mindful when you do deadlift. Try to hinge properly. Don't arch your back or don't go sloppy on the deadlift. And you might do like touch and go in sets, but just be mindful. Don't go too hard and don't go too much.
Perfect. Yeah, I really agree there on the deadlift, that sensible break. And I know that Simon and I have a different strategy on that. So that first pull off the floor for me is horrible in a deadlift. So I'm going to do slightly bigger sets because I prefer that touch and go. Whereas Si, I know you're going to do more sets because you don't mind pulling it off the floor.
Yeah, exactly. I'm probably not going to go above 5 reps, but make sure that my breaks are very strict, and that will allow me to save my back. And my back blows up if I do 2 bigger sets. So depending on what type of athlete you are, go with that strategy.
Perfect. And so I know you wanted to talk on the cleans and the snatch, how you can break those up.
Yeah. With the cleans, honestly, no one should be doing touch and go on those cleans, especially at the RX weight. Jason Hopper was going touch and go on those cleans, but Dallin Pepper did singles and came in faster. Honestly, I think the cleans is almost the crux of the workout. This is where you're going to be breathing heavy. This is where you're going to have some local fatigue in your lower back. And this is where you have to be very strict. Yes, drop it from the top, which saves the eccentric loading, but be strong with your break and pick it up as quickly as you can.
If you are doing singles on that, just make sure you get your elbows through at the top. No short elbows. Again, costly reps in this are going to waste a lot of effort and a lot of time.
Yeah.
Snatches,
Snatch.
opinions on snatch. For me, I think it's a little bit different. It depends on when you're planning on finishing the workout. 40 kilos for me isn't too heavy, and 43 isn't too heavy. So at the moment, my plan is that I might try and do some 3s and some 5s in there,
Yeah.
but I'm also going to play it by ear. If my shoulders are blowing up from the wall walks, then yeah, I'm going singles. I'm going to follow that bar down so I can do quick singles, but I'm not going to bother trying to touch and go just because I can.
Yeah, Toby makes an important point though, actually, in terms of your shoulders. Your shoulders will be blowing up on these snatches, most likely. However, if you know that yes, some shoulder fatigue, you're going to go into the wall walks and you're still going to be able to keep a consistent pace like you did before, then fine. Be okay with more local shoulder fatigue because that's it. There's no more shoulders after that part, and you just have to have the energy to send a row.
It's interesting, actually, I was speaking to an athlete yesterday who'd done some power snatches recently, and they were actually saying that it wasn't the hips that were tiring out, it was the lockout and the pressing. So they paired handstand press ups with power snatches, and it was actually the pressing and locking out that they were struggling with. Jar.
So the last row is the end of the workout, so just go all out on the last half. So you are not going full send from the beginning. That will not sustain throughout like all the calories on the last one. Just the last half, try to go hard.
Yeah, agreed. Unless the only reason you'll send it from the start of that row is if you've got 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Get
Yes.
on, grab it, and you just
Whatever you have.
pull the life out of that. The last one, we haven't got it written up here, but Simon's got one last trick for you that I know he taught me and I've learned to do in my wall walks as well.
Yeah, with your wall walk, guys, you want to save or reduce time under tension. So do not fully lock out when you get to the top of the wall walk and your hands on the line. Come back, tap the line, and go back into your recovery straight away. And if you're an RX athlete, the less number of steps you can do on that wall, the more you're going to save local muscular fatigue in your shoulders.
That's
Just
true.
to clarify on lockout, what Simon means by lockout is stop.
Yeah.
You don't have to stop at the top, you can tap and go back. You'll still have straight arms, obviously, but you don't have to stay in that position for a long time.
I agree with that.
Happy?
Happy?
Perfect.
Happy?
Perfect.
Awesome. As normal, if you're on our premium subscription with the added coach option, reach out to the coach, make sure you've got your personalized plan in place. RX Perform details will be coming this weekend as well, so keep an eye out. So if you haven't been on the program or you're not already on the program, then pay attention to those details, and let's crush 25.3.
Awesome.
Last
Perfect.
one.
Do it.